come on in. Welcome. This is us. What's up? Oh, this is us.
Great.
We are practically live. So welcome to GamesBeat University.
Did they tell you beforehand you were going to be up here for 2.5 hours?
Oh, I'm living live. This is, come on. We're having a good time here in the room. We have our live chat. Our people, if they ask us questions, we do it real time, or as real time as the Twitch will allow. And we just talk about important things.
Cool.
So you are the CEO of the Software Illuminati.
That's right.
Which is a fantastic name. But you're so much more, John. So why don't you tell people out there a little bit of your origin story,
Sure.
and then we'll just jump forward together.
So my background is I got into the games business around 18 years ago. Started out at Microsoft in MGS Studios before there was an Xbox.
Yeah.
And I did M&A. So we went out and we acquired companies and we acquired games for Microsoft's platforms, PC, and eventually Xbox. So I, along with a number of other people, did the acquisition of Bungie Studios, turned Halo into an Xbox launch title, and a number of other companies along the way.
Gotcha. Helping Alex Serofian along his path to increased riches and contribution to our game craft.
So did that for Microsoft. Then I worked for a company called Day One Studios out in Chicago.
Of course.
And worked there for 4.5 years. And then ever since then, I've been doing what I do now, which is consulting and advising to video game companies, large and small, about strategy. When they run into problems, sometimes they call me. So I guess I'm kind of the Knight Rider of video games.
I thought you were going to be the equalizer, but I'll give you Knight Rider if that's where you want to go. I like the equalizer.
Like
Picture coming the equalizer,
too, yeah.
right? Like things are not going to just come and just settle the score, and then you're out. Like this, or oh my gosh, Quantum Leap.
Sure.
Yes, you could be the Scott Bakula of the game developer craft. That'd be a great role to
Pop
have as
in,
well.
Pop out.
Yeah. So it's a little vague, but though, when do companies call? Are they calling you? So you start off acquiring companies. So is it because they're looking for investment, or they're trying to navigate internal challenges? External. Let's start there. External challenges or internal challenges?
So usually when things are sort of just going along fine, that's not when people call.
Yes.
When things go really bad, they call, or when things are going really well. Like somebody's made us an offer for our company. What do we do?
Yeah.
How do we think about that? Or like we've run out of money.
And then they call you, and you go, "Oh, look, my phone's busy." That's great. I don't know how this can work for either of us.
Yeah. So platform transitions, things get really busy.
Yes.
So right now, as people are trying to figure out, okay, mobile isn't as great a place as it used to be. Things are getting really crowded on PC. Then there's this VR thing that we don't really know what the future is going to hold. So yeah, people have a lot of questions.
Yeah. And there's new authentic voices, right? I think when mobile emerged as a mainstream thing, there were people who were like, "Oh, I'm going to adapt to mobile," but then there are other people who were like, "Oh no, I've been mobile the whole time. I was working at Sprint this whole time, waiting for this to happen." Right?
Or they waited 5 years and like, "Oh, this mobile thing, this looks like there's a lot of opportunity here," and then they get in and they're like, "Oh, it turns out this is really hard."
Yes.
Or free to play.
Like all things worth doing. What do you mean? How hard can free to play? It's free.
Oh, yeah, it's free.
You don't even advertise. People are just going to take it.
That's right. It turns out actually making a free to play game is really hard.
Mike, you didn't know the user acquisition number would have. That's a thing? What's that? Oh no. Yeah. I have to advertise one person at a time.
Yep.
Sorry, we're getting deep in the weeds. So what is motivating you now? What matters to you the most now?
Well, what matters to me, I mean, what's always been interesting to me about this business is lots of really who want to make, some of them want to make art, some of them want to make commercial art, and those aren't the same.
Yeah.
But they don't always understand sort of how to get from point A to point B.
Okay.
And so trying to help them visualize that. So people come into this industry often because they love playing games. It's like, I love playing these games. I want to make these things that I play. And they don't realize that it's like a giant sausage factory to make these things that they only experience at the very end when it's a delicious cooked piece of meat.
Yes. By the way, this is nothing against sausage factory workers or creators. It's an important craft, and we appreciate all of you equally.
Sorry. Yes, we do. But it is a sausage factory. And so people don't always understand sort of what they're getting themselves into. And I've certainly seen and talked to folks who spend a lot of money and they make a game and they're like, okay, it's done. Now what do I do?
Wow, then they're done. They're done
for
it. No, but they're done with their game and they're just deciding what to do. They're in real trouble. They should have called you earlier. Okay. Well, how early? Okay, so you talked about sort of the amplitude of when you engage, but I guess maybe focusing on game companies or maybe that is the focus now VR. It's like how much of your of your lever is now between like VR experiences and gaming games?
5% of what
so gaming games. So gaming games are hard. So when should you be engaging with you? Let's start there. When would it be right?
Well, so having somebody with another pair of eyes to look at what you're doing is a useful, whether it's me or somebody else, is always a useful thing to have as an entrepreneur.
Yep.
So we do product development, whether it's games or anything else, and at some point you put that in front of the consumer, and you should do the same thing with your business and your business model and your business process. So I should have a set of advisors that periodically check in on what I'm doing, or if I'm a company and I've taken investment, I'm going to have a board, and they're going to be checking in on what I'm doing. But the sooner you have that, the better off you're going to be. So I talk to entrepreneurs all the time who are like just one person. They've got a concept for a game. They know what they want to build. They know the team they want to build. They know where the money's going to come from. But even they are like, okay, I need another couple pairs of eyes on this.
Well, sure, and to actually actualize that, right? Like even if you have the greatest strategy for world conquest, sometimes you might not have the soldiers, right? And so you need to know how to navigate that.
A lot of this business is common sense, but a lot of the challenges come from when you don't plan ahead. So you will start building a product, and then you realize, oh, I need to put it in front of, it's like a free-to-play game.
Yes.
I build a free-to-play game, and I build it up to a certain point, and I have to put it in front of players. How do I acquire them, and how do I react to that? And how do I build a process that allows me to actually build community as well as I build new features?
Sure. Am I a service or an authorship, right? Because some people want to author a game. They don't necessarily want to serve an audience for a living.
Yeah. All games are going to be as a service.
Wow, all games. Well, that's okay. So that's going to go in bold. That's like Dean. Where's Dean? Where's Dean Takahashi? Jon Kimmich. The ship has sailed. All games will be games as a service.
Yeah, and some will be gigantic services like Riot.
Sure.
And some will be a service of like one or two people who manages the ongoing community interaction with their premium game.
Well, that's super interesting. Because we see even entrepreneurs here, right? We see them here, right? And if you go like, okay, this is great. I love your demo. That's adorable. However, your game is a service. Let's talk about your service team. Sounds like that would seem like me like sort of like okay, a new metaphor. You might be the Mr. Miyagi because they need to wax on, wax off about service before they get back to the thing.
In a world where discovery is hard.
Yes.
How are people going to find out about what you're making? And that's a part of
I'm going to tweet about it.
Well, guess what? That's your service, community service.
Yeah.
That is a service.
Okay.
And as a game maker, as a game company, that is 50%. That may be more than 50% of what is going to make you successful as a company, whether you are partnered with some distributor or whether you're doing it all yourself. It is half of what you should be thinking about on a day-to-day basis. It may not be half of your team, but it should be half of what you're thinking about.
What are some of the traits you're seeing in the developers that are being successful? When you sort of thin slice, you walk in the room and you're asking your opening sort of gambit of exploratory questions, traits that emerge that you go, okay, we're headed down a good path. What are some of the traits that emerge? You go, oh, this is going to be a lot of work for the Illuminati.
Sure. Well, so it starts with team. So who is the team that's building this product?
Okay.
What's their degree of experience? Is it have they built this kind of game before? So if
have they finished?
Have they shipped?
Okay.
Have they made a success? So if they're a strategy game,
if
they want to make a strategy game, have they made a strategy game before? If all they made is first-person shooters?
Or if they're first-timers. There's a lot of people who are like, it's my first experience. Yeah.
There's no difference between a team of individuals who make a game for the first time and of people who've made a game in a different genre, but who are making a game in a new genre. I will argue there's no difference.
Okay.
Some people disagree with me.
I'm gonna be agreeable.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like yes and okay.
Yeah. So that's
but the humility. There might be a humility difference, a huge humility difference. If you've done stuff, you're like read my Moby Games. What? And you're like, but that's not what you're making.
It's all
okay.
That's all over the map.
Okay.
That's very individualistic. So what have they done before to get as a team is sort of the first thing that you drill down on, and then what is their plan for product development, and what is their plan for operating this game, even if it's a premium thing where you just sort of shoot it, fire and forget. There's still customer support. There's still tech support. There's still, okay, what do we do with this community that's bought the game, and how do we utilize them for what we want to do next?
Sure.
Aside from just the money that they paid us for this game that we're already done with.
Get some blank stares at that point, because I imagine a lot of people don't have those plans to work. When they call the meeting, they're like, that's why we called you, bro. We called you.
Yeah, they're in the weeds. They're totally focused on what it is they're doing right now, and they're not looking out a couple months or more than a couple months in the future. And that's very common, and it's a hard habit to break.
And so, do they? When someone elicits your services, do they come to you? Do you come in with like a drop squad? Are you like, oh, you won't actually be working with me. I'm going to deploy some people.
Well, so usually
this is too much. Too many weeds. I don't do weeds.
I'm the sharp, pointy end of the stick.
Oh, okay.
So we will poke them first.
Yes.
And then based on that, we sort of say, well, you talk to this person who's an expert in user experience. So you should go talk to this person who's an expert in game design, or this person on monetization, or PR and marketing, or whatever.
So there's like an alliance, a consortium.
Oh, yeah.
We were talking a little bit before about the Xavier Academy of Gifted Youngsters. I feel there's sort of an element there, so maybe an Avengers
we
or
are
something.
the Illuminati after
You
all.
are the Illuminati. Okay, gotcha. They are. I didn't know if it was like the royal, like we, and then okay, gotcha. So there are Illuminati out there, tucked in amongst us. They walk amongst us.
So we focus a lot on the game companies, the Riots, and the White Moons, and the whoever. But then there's all these other people who are in the industry who aren't necessarily a particular company, but who are running around providing advice or services or guidance in a variety of different areas. And they have expertise that can be borrowed to supplement an area that you might lack as a game developer. And then it could be super valuable.
It sounds super smart. Like it's like a la carte. Like you buy the food you need.
Yeah.
Don't buy the store. Don't buy a grocery store.
Yeah. So find one of these folks, utilize them, suck their brain dry of all its knowledge, and then inoculate your team with that, and then throw their sort of spent husk by the side of the road, and on your way you go.
Well, we got to invite them to the launch party. Okay, be nice.
So launch party first, then Shattered Husk.
Then Shattered. Okay, that seems fair. And T-shirt. Throw a T-shirt at them. Lots of T-shirts. If you're in the games business, you're gonna get a lot of T-shirts.
Yes.
It's just a fact. What are you most excited about in our craft? Look, what excites you? What do you go like? I mean, you got into this yourself. You're a lifer. You're all in.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of identity tied to us at some level doing something that matters. What's mattering to you?
What always excites me is seeing really talented teams be successful, but who maybe didn't expect it. So,
okay.
They'll be working on something. They'll be toiling in their cave for a long time, and then they launch it, and it turns out, hey, this thing actually is pretty good. And even though you play it and you believe that as somebody who's like in the weeds working on it every day, getting that external validation from real players on Twitch talking about your game and how cool it is.
You mean real people on Twitch, like these people right here, like the people right here who are with us at GamesBeat University? All right, go.
That's for a developer, that's pretty awesome, and to the extent that I can help them get to that point, that's pretty cool.
Because I bet most people don't know that your craft exists, right? Like it's something you'd have to sort of search and discover. How do people search and discover? How do you discover the software Illuminati?
So the only way you find me is by talking to somebody who knows me.
Nice. Oh, I like it. Okay,
so
that is very
don't
nice.
do stuff like this.
So wait now a new metaphor. You're like one of Charlie's angels. Yeah, you can't just say hi to the angels. You got to know Charlie, or they're
angels are probably better looking than I am. But people find me by referral.
Okay.
They hear about me. They talk to somebody that I've done work with, and they're like, hey, you should go talk to this Jon guy. He knows some stuff. So that's how people find out about me. So the places you go for like that, LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be some good professional development. So what do you think? So you meet developers. What do you find to be some of the most common holes that they have? What are some of the self answers they should have before they even reach out to you? There's probably some basics, basic just doing your own professional homework, just because people have blind spots. Everyone has blind spots. So what are the common ones you see?
So we call that a gap analysis.
Oh, gap, okay.
So and what we do is we sort of sit down and we say, what are the key things that developers need to be successful? So ideas are not one of the things that they need to be successful.
Okay.
Everybody has ideas. They need people, talented people, preferably that have done this kind of thing before. They need resources, which usually in our business equates to money.
Yeah.
They need some technology, and you can either build that or buy that. They need the ability to operate their product as a service, so there's certain resources around that.
Ooh, wait, go slower. What's that mean? Because that's probably where people get a little in the weeds, right?
So do you have people on your team who understand how to manage a community, how to build a community, how to communicate with a community? That's all part of operating a service. And then there's the financial aspect. How to process payments, or do you have a provider for that?
Sure.
Do you know how to prevent fraud? Do you know how to think about, if you're building a free-to-play game, what it means to monetize a free-to-play game versus a premium game? How do you think
Which
about
most people don't.
Model.
That is not common knowledge. It's not something people learn necessarily in their academic training.
But even for a premium game,
Sure.
let's say you're going to put it on Steam, for example.
Sure.
How do you, if you're going to use Greenlight, how do you manage a Greenlight process? If you're going to use Kickstarter, Kickstarter is a giant free-to-play game. It is. I mean,
No, I'm not questioning. I'm just taking it. Okay, gotcha.
So, how do I, if I'm going to use Kickstarter to raise money for this game I want to make, how do I do that? How do I build a campaign to do that? How do I manage it over the 30 days or however long it's going to take? How do I manage the community of very vocal participants who now feel entitled because they've put money into my game?
Sure.
That
are
delivers,
entitled, did put money in your
absolutely.
game. Yeah.
And how do I manage that?
Yeah.
Because now I don't have like half a dozen investors. Now I may have several thousand investors.
Yes, vocal ones.
Absolutely. And so all of that, whether it's Kickstarter or whether it's operating a free-to-play game or it's operating the community for an existing game, so take something like Ark.
Yeah.
Ark started out as a game, builds a huge community, or Rocket League
Sure.
game builds a huge community.
Yeah.
How do I manage that?
The second time, yeah.
So in the case of Rocket League, there's the whole esports component of that, and how do I, manage that aspect of the community?
A huge, expectant, living, breathing audience.
Yeah.
Sounds important.
That's why I say, every game is a service now.
And the glamour of investors. You touched on investors for a second, but that's a whole nother world for people to explore. For most creators of content, to be like, oh, I want to. It sounds good. I'm going to have an investor. They're going to, give me all the money. Or a publisher, what have you.
Even a game like Flappy Bird.
Yes.
So, paid game, 99 cents, you get your game.
Done.
But it builds a huge community, and if you're like some one-man band, I can see...
Like that guy was. Yeah, like that guy was, yeah.
Like, what do I do with all these people? How do I deal with them? My Twitter feed is getting crushed.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah.
And that, he hadn't anticipated that, and it was a challenge for him. So there's no escape.
There's no escape. Well, but that's also, there's an opportunity, right? That is the craft that people are entering into. That's sort of what you're signing up for. I'd offer that thinking about when we got into the business, the dream was a little different, right? Like, I'm going to park in space at Microsoft. It'll be the best thing ever.
But it's different, but it's the same. Fundamentally, it's I'm going to create this work, and people are going to consume it, and they're going to have fun, and I'm going to feel good because people are experiencing this artistic creation that I made.
Fair.
So that's the same. It's how it's the point A to point B.
See, you love games. See, that's awesome. See, you're like, I'm going to harvest the users. I'm going to get the most long-term value from them, and I'll be happy forever. No, actual games, people.
I can speak that talk too.
Yeah, I know, and I'm not saying you can't, but
it's
not
scary.
with your heart. But your heart,
it's scary.
It's awesome.
When you
love
walk
games.
You're a developer. It's all about the art of making this thing that I've crafted in fashion, and it's going to be awesome. And somebody comes in, and, yes, we're going to harvest your users, use them for cash. That's not what most people got into the business for, even if it's ultimately how they survive.
Yes. Okay. So, people can only find you by reference. Well, I could Google you. I don't know why people.
Yeah.
Your name's very unique. You all should look at the name. I'm sure there's a Chiron. Here. Oh, wait. Maybe they'll pop it up for you so people can find you. But this is Jon Kimmich. I'm going to spell it for them because it's not obvious. Kimmich.
Yeah. So my name is my Twitter handle as well.
Oh,
so if you just type that on Twitter.
Well, I'm going to follow with you about some stuff with USC, just so you know, because we have an accelerator. Sorry, us time. We have an accelerator for all our teams who are now forming their first business.
I love doing this.
And they need to talk to you, literally, not figuratively. They should be in this chat room right now.
Of how to make games. I taught a class about that.
For
many years at DigiPen.
Oh, okay.
So,
awesome.
And it's
some
interesting.
Of my best friends are digipenners.
Yeah, so there were a couple hundred students who went through that class over a number of years, and several of them have gone on to make games professionally as independents.
Yeah.
So they went indie like straight out of school, which is like super scary. I don't recommend that.
Yeah.
But
that's I think it's a big part of the dream now is to have that opportunity, to have the choice, like the freedom of choice, to either go work for someone else or to do your own thing, especially if you've been training the craft of making your own stuff.
That dream's dead.
Okay.
We're not gonna say anything controversial up here, but that dream is
that's
dead.
another one for Dean. Where's Dean?
For now.
What was the other one? You had one that was golden. The all games are a service.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jon Kimmich.
Yeah. I've killed your dreams and turned them all into services.
Yeah.
I'm out.
On that note, thank you very much, Jon, for joining us here on GamesBeat University.